Hi everyone, it's Mike here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So it's time for week 41 in our Mission Inspiration Weekly Art Challenge. So this week the prompt is masks. So embrace the layers you wear, both seen and unseen. Like a masquerade, masks protect and conceal, but also invite reflection. Recognize when you remove them and reveal your true self. American spelling crept in there, never mind. Celebrate authenticity, for beneath the masks lies your pure essence, waiting to shine in its full light and vulnerability. So obviously the spell check was on with the wrong dictionary for me, but never mind. Right, so once again, I'm going to be working on the top part of this, but I will create my page and then stick it down at the very end before it goes into my journal. So this gets put to one side, and today, because we're in spooky season, I'm going to create a little bit of a spooky themed page today, and I'm going to be using my All Hallows Checks and Stripes paper pad. I've already gone through the paper pad and decided on which one I want to use, which is going to be this page. So these are one of the checks inside the paper pad. They're double-sided, but this one fits best, I think. And what I'm going to do is cut out a panel for this too. It's going to be a bit more of a collage page today with a little bit of painting involved. And I'm also going to layer that and give it on a piece of black cardstock and give it a nice kind of black frame. So that's going to be the first job that I want to do this morning. So this is the journal that's going to go into. I haven't forgotten about creating the spine kit for you. I will get around to doing it. I will. I promise. So let me just move all my other bits and pieces to one side, Jack, because I don't want to reveal too much all at once. So like I said, that this paper pad not only is available in a physical paper pad like this, but if you don't want to pay postage or don't want to wait for it, it is also available as a digi download on my website too. Link in the description below, or below the video, depending on where you're watching this. So there's this one and the Gothic Revival paper pads that I released this year, both available as digi downloads too. So there's the shameless plug for that one. I've got my little bit of a quote ready to go. So first of all then, so the measurement for this for me, for my art journal, is 140 across by 205 down. So I need to create my, I just realised my paper trimmer's over there. I need to create my frame just so that it's a little bit smaller than that. So let's just say if it's 140, let's just do it 136, which gives us a few millimeters border, and it was 205. So if we're going to do it that way, the same. What did I just do? Just take 4 off, didn't I? So 201. 201. There we go. So that's going to give us a few millimeters border all the way around there, and then the panel that I want to add onto that, which is going to go on there, should be smaller again. So that was 140, 136, so that's going to go down to 132. Love these checks. And that was 201 minus, so 197. That should just about do it, with the same kind of border all the way around, like so. So that's going to give us a couple of millimeters, about 1/8 of an inch as a border all the way around, like so. Perfect. Perfectamundo. Like it already. So yes, this art journal page that I have in mind today is not really spooky. It's a little bit spooky, but not, you know, overly. Might be a little bit ambitious. The actual mechanics and engineering of the art journal page, yeah, I'm not really sure about, but I'm going to give it a go. So yeah, there is going to be a little bit of engineering involved. It will be slightly interactive, or I'm hoping it's going to be slightly interactive. I've not done one like this for a long time, so I'm hoping it's going to work. Alright, so that's pretty much, it's near as we're going to get it, I think. I'll just whip around the edges with some distressing, just to kind of get rid of any of those raw white edges. Ooh, what on earth is that? Some kind of oily splodge on the paper. I don't know where that's come from. All right. I literally only got torn out of the pad this morning when I was deciding which one. So, it could be blood actually, and I've just not noticed it. You may notice I have a plaster on my finger, a sticking plaster. That's because I changed the blade in my scalpel this morning, and it wasn't until I was cutting out one of the elements for this art journal page when I realised that there was blood all over the place. I thought, oh no, that's not a good idea. So I had to stem it quickly. I didn't even feel the scalpel blade stab into my finger. Sorry if I'm making people feel squeamish. I know lots of people don't like talking about that kind of thing, so I suppose I should have done a trigger warning first, shouldn't I? Right, so let's just clear that up. Put those away, just get that dried off. There we go, and then bring it back again. So, the plan is I want to create some kind of white gesso streaks and marks going down the page. So I'm just going to dry brush some white, just to give that a little bit of a lift in that background. I've recently cleaned all of my brushes. My paint pot is currently empty and dry. I know, I actually spent some time and cleaned my brushes. It's like, what's gone into me? I'm in cleaning mode, Marie Kondo mode. So what I want to do is just kind of create a kind of fogginess, if you like, just like a bit of a brushy haziness, just to knock back that pattern in the background just a tad. I don't want to do it, you know, too major. Just want a hint of that kind of foggy whiteness in the background. And as the paint dries, it will kind of lighten up and disappear a bit more into the background. There we go. Very, very subtle, which is all it really needs to be. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of stamping in the background. So I'll clear this background up, grab the stamps and the ink, and then I'll be right back. Okay, we're all dry. A little bit of a curl, but not too bothered about that. Right, I've got stamps doing on there. I've got some VersaFine Clair in Nocturne, which is obviously black colour or a dark colour. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in this crackle. So these are from my second Journaling Textures stamp set, Journaling Textures 2. Again, shameless plug, still available on the website. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to use a stamp block. I'm going to just ink up by hand, stamp off a little bit just to remove a little bit, and then just add some bit of crackle just as a bit of texture in the background. Bearing in mind, like I said, this is second generation crackle. because, like I said, we're stamping off on the paper pad first. And I'm only inking up the top part of the stamp. So I've got a bit more control over where it appears. Okay. Give the stamp a quick clean. And my finger, and then we can put that stamp set back. All right, done and dusted. Get rid of that. And that's ready for the next time we need to use it. There we go. Just if there's any areas where I missed earlier. Right, so that will take a little while just to dry. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a helping hand. Okay, so if you really wanted to give that a little bit more texture, a little bit more depth, you could have gone over the top with some embossing powder, either black or clear embossing powder, and then heated that to give it a little bit of depth and shine from the background. I'm not particularly into shine. I do occasionally. It's like using purple. I don't like the colour purple all that much, but I still use it just because I don't want to limit myself. So my first layer, or one of the layers I'm going to use, is going to be a character from a new paper pad that will be coming out next year, because I'm already way ahead. So this is going to be one of the characters in a paper pad called Small Faces. So I know I said small faces. There will be some tall, thin ones specifically designed to sit on tags. Yes, the tag journals will be making an appearance again next year. I've already started planning on materials for them as well. So this is going to be one of the characters in that book. There'll be male and female faces of different ethnic backgrounds as well. Yes, we do listen. But anyway, so this is going to be in or on the front of my art journal page. But this is going to be the top layer, the final layer, if you like. So my initial layer, I've already printed out and cut out a second version where I've removed some of the features. So I'm going to paint over the top of this. Fingers crossed, hopefully it's going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some white gesso and a smaller brush, because I'm going to need a little bit more control pretty much of, see, I've cleaned all my brushes and put them away and I can't blooming find any. So white gesso. So what I want to do is start off down here. And the paper pads that we produce are 170 GSM, or in poundage, if you're still working in that, they're 115 pound. So they're quite, quite substantial, and you can do quite a lot with them. They will hold ink and paint and that kind of stuff, but they are uncoated. So there's no lamination, there's no varnish, there's no stuff on top of the paper, so you can write on them, which means you can ink and paint over the top, as you saw, without any issues, really. Because it is cardstock, obviously it will soak and dry pretty quickly. So Ian's just gone out. I've just had the front door slam. I hope there's no big yellow taxi waiting out there. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry that off and then come back again and maybe add another coat. It does dry pretty quick, so. And I'm not going to go and add so much paint that I can't see what's underneath, because I do need to maintain some kind of reference point. I'm only using small brush strokes because I don't want to pull and yank at the cardstock. Not a good idea when, you know, you've got wet paper or cardstock underneath. Now it's pretty much obscured, I think. So again, let me just give that a quick clean, get it dry, and then I'm going to switch brushes to a smaller one. So I'll be right back. Smaller brush, black gesso this time. So I'm just going to take a small amount. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to very gently come in to that black paint and then just mask off a little part of the neck. Now what I can do is come back in later with a black pen and just add in some fine detail. But just at the moment, I just want to obscure that little bit there. Okay, I need to clean that brush, don't I? A little squeezy bottle. I'll do, I think. Yeah, that's pretty much clean now. And then I can come back in with that white. And start painting the neck. Like I said, I'm not too worried about fine detail at this point because I can come back in a little while. Roll the paintbrush slightly so you don't get any stray hairs as you're pulling a line. Always works for me. Just turn that round. Sometimes when your brushes are small and you do get like a stray hair sticking out, but you don't want to get like a double line, just roll the edge of your brush and that stray hair will kind of disappear underneath. Like I said, don't mind if it's a bit wobbly bobbly. Cool, okay, let's get that washed, cleaned, and then we'll be back. I know I should have filled my water pot up. Okay, I've dusted off my coloured pencils. I know, shocker. Something I haven't used for a long time. So what I'm doing is I'm just quickly going through, just taking out some lighter shades and some greys. Maybe some warm greys. So we've got some kind of pale peachy colour there, just a little bit of, and I've got black obviously, and an ordinary pencil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of, where I can still see the marks or the features of the face underneath, I'm just going to really kind of gently come in. And then really kind of gently drawing some features, and then like so. And then just some kind of areas of shading. Right, what were we doing? Oh yes, we were trying to work out where these features were going to go. So just start off initially with pencil, and then coming in with the coloured pencil, I can start to add in a bit more defined detail. Obviously we're going a bit whimsical, we're going a bit more in keeping with the style and the shape. And then have I got the blending stuff that's not been blunted? Yeah, we'll forget that. Alright, so this is probably going to take a few minutes to do, so what I'll probably do is I'll go away start colouring in, adding in some shade, get the basics in, and then I'll join with you again in real time in a little while. Okay, so I've got some charcoal pencils here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit just to kind of add a little bit more kind of shading, just to give it a little bit more texture. Just so that it blends out a bit more. There we go. I don't want it all kind of stark white. Just to give a little bit of a hint. All right, and then come in with that distress inker. Just add a little bit of warmth just around the edges. And then I can come in with a black pen, and I'm just going to use a biro. I'm not going to use anything extraordinary, just ordinary biro. And I'm just going to add some like little bits of detail. Almost like a little bit of cross hatching. Just to kind of define just some of those features a bit better. And then just kind of smarten up those lines a little. Just sharpens those lines up, but also just gives them a little bit more. Bit of extra detail. Because we put that kind of diffusion in the background beforehand, it just helps to get it to stand out a bit better, I think. Well, I think it does anyway. And it's a little bit threatening, I think, at the moment, because there's no kind of, there's nothing in those eyes. And we need to just kind of rehumanize them a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in with one of my paint markers. Just give it a shake, because that feels a bit watery to me. Don't think that's been shaken up properly. That feels far too watery, not nearly what I want. Let's go back to the old favourite, the old Posca pen. Okay, you see that? Really, really watery. So let's just give it a really good shake. Okay, so while I've been shaking the pen, I've also had a quick tidy up. And I think, yeah, I'm happier with that. So all I'm going to do is just put just a couple of little pinpricks just in there, just to show that they're not quite gone. Something's still there. Okay, so what I need to do is just dry that off. Lovely stuff. Okay, so now that my 2 layers are dry, what I need to do is to get them shuffled up so that they're one hidden behind the other, like so. And then I've got a pokey tool, and where the tie pin, or where the tie is at the bottom, I'm going to create a little tie pin for him. So I've punched a hole all the way through, and then I've got a brad. I'm going to push through. Okay, and then we'll bring back in. Look, how did that happen? A big splodge of white on the background. Wow. Well, luckily, it was still a bit wet, but also it's going to be behind. It's going to be behind the main character. So let's bring that in now, like so. And then I kind of know where it is that I need to punch that hole. So let me lay him down there. Excellent. So that can then go like that. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to glue this layer down using the brad as a placement tool. I'm not going to open the arms of the brad. I'm just going to hold that so I know where exactly I need to add glue. So let me just grab some glue, and then I can start adding some just to the back. There we go. And I'll have just something heavy on there, just for the time being, just to hold it down. Okay, and then I can take the brad back out again, lift that up, and then just add the remaining glue around the character, and then smooth that down. Just make sure we've got the hole still. Yeah. All right, so now what we can do is come back in while that's drying, and I've got a Stabilo oil pencil and my trusty water brush. Make sure there's water in there. And what I can do is I can start adding just a little bit of shadow. Right, sorry about that, I just had to stop and sort out the storage on my phone, what I'm using to record. So as I was just saying, before I was rudely interrupted by, by the telephone, is I'm going to go all the way around, but not at the bottom. And it just adds a real kind of soft, diffused kind of glow to it, or a soft kind of like drop shadow. It just helps just to establish it in place on the page, and to some small degree as well. I run out of water. To some small degree, it also makes it look almost like a shadow of the hair that he used to have. Does that make sense? I'm hoping it does. Anyway, right, so there's that. So now we can take the character. I've already gone round mostly the edges with the distressing for him. I haven't named him yet for some strange reason. I want to call him Emilio. Don't know why, but anyway. There are some of the characters in this new Small Faces book that I immediately sort of recognise people in there. There's one that looks a little bit like Robert Pattinson from like the Twilight movies, and there's one that looks like Angelina Jolie, and there's one that looks like Zoe Saldana. There's one that looks like Angela Bassett. Great. There's even one that looks like Nichelle Nichols. Uhura, for those that don't know, I'm not into Star Trek. So right. So now I'm going to take the Brad. I did say this was going to be kind of interactive page, didn't I? Right, put the Brad through. And then close the arms. So now the mask can slip. Haha, love it. All right, so up here then, I've got just my little quote. And again, I'm not going to make it huge. I'm not going to have lots of tail edges on these word blocks today. They're going to be just small. Just little words. I've deliberately kept the font size small on these. I'll probably regret it because I'll probably end up losing them because they are so tiny. So, bit of white space off there. Bit of white space off there. Okay, so just add a little bit of distress. Yes, I forgot to clear the phone from last week's videos, and actually the week before that as well, which is why it just told me that it was full, which doesn't happen very often. 9 times out of 10 it's because even though I've deleted the photos, they've gone into like the recycle bin and not actually gone from the phone. So you've got to go into your deleted items bin and empty it before it frees up the storage on your phone. It's just one of those things that I forget to do every so often. Thinking, how can my phone be full? And I realise that I haven't emptied the bin. It does it automatically after a certain period of time, but sometimes you need the space before it's done it. Okay. So let's grab some glue. Should we do it now? We'll use this one. We'll use the wet glue. Just put a little bit on. I'm just using bog standard PVA, just ordinary school glue for this, which I've just put into a little bottle. It's just a point applicator. I've got a bag with quite a few in. If I forget to put the lid on, it clogs up, which is why I bought more than one. Just a wee bit of glue there. Just a teeny tiny. So what I need to make sure now is that when I glue the page down into the journal, that I do not glue the arms of the brad. That's kind of stiff enough. I think. I might, at a later date, just add a little catch at the top. Just a little flap catch. I've managed to get water and glue everywhere. It's so messy today. Right, so let's just turn that around. Heavier duty glue, I think, is called for. So grab and go. That's a brand new bottle of grab and go glue, but I haven't taken the stopper out of the top yet, so I don't want to get glue everywhere, not today. I'm going to avoid putting glue there. So that it's at least got some space to be able to turn, or I don't want to glue it down. Okay. A lot of layers and a lot of moisture. Oh, see how it just slid then? Being mean to me today, glue. Come on, come on. Hold down. Right, I'm just going to hold this in position for a second or two, and then I'll be right back. Just talk amongst yourselves. Okay, so that's pretty much dried down now. So just had a thought while I was holding that down, is that if you don't want to fiddle around with that mechanism of having the brad holding your pieces together, you could just glue a sheet of acetate or attach a sheet of acetate and put your top character on the sheet of acetate so that you could flip over or flip up. Which would have worked just as well, and I think I wished I'd thought of that before I started on making the video. So I may change this art journal page at a later date to one that's got a sheet of acetate on the front, I probably can't do it at the moment because I don't have any acetate, so I probably have to buy some first before doing it. So there you go. Watch this space. I might, if I remember, I'll let you know. I've done it. Anyway, so that is my art journal page for week 41 of the Mission Inspiration Oracle Art Challenges for 2024. Week 41 being masks. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed watching me create this art journal page today. If you have, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. And if you want to join us over in our Mission Inspiration Facebook group, where we have the weekly art challenges this year, going back to monthly next year, that's the link on the screen there, but there will be a clickable link below the video on whatever platform you're watching this on. So if you're watching it in my blog, then it's below. If you're watching it on Facebook, it's below. If you're watching it on YouTube, it's below. So there you go. Below, below, below. Fantastic. Okay, bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. And don't forget, you can access your exclusive angel-only content over on my website. There's a link in the description area below. Thank you.